All right, so welcome back to Tactical Labs 101. I'm Justin, and this is Build Breakdown Episode 2. All right, so with that, we're going to get right into the next rifle. So if you missed the last one was a 300 Blackout SBR. It was actually this one. So if you missed that, go check out that video. This one is actually going to be focusing on something that you can't see right now, but it's actually right down here. You could say this one is my SHTF, all hell breaks loose. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this one. We'll talk about this rifle and why it is the way that it is. All right, so this is my 5.56 build. This is actually the first rifle I ever got. It's obviously not suppressed. We just have a bird cage on the end there, so no muzzle device, but no suppressor or anything like that. As you can see too, this is painted. That's also something that I kind of got into a little bit more recently. The 300 Blackout rifle, as you can see, is not painted, but this one is, and I put a little bit of camo on there, a little bit of snakeskin action. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. We'll do the same thing as the 300 Blackout. We'll start over on this end, work our way down. We do have this up here, just a hand stop, just in case if my hand slides forward, this can stop it. But also, this is good for barricades if I need to prop the rifle up against something. Up top, we have on this side, the pressure pads over here, so it keeps hitting the light on. Okay, so on this side, we've got a flashlight. I think this is just like an Amazon special flashlight. Again, kind of some of the stuff, this needs to be upgraded, obviously. Some of the stuff, though, kind of similar to with the 300 Blackout rifle. I just didn't want to spend a whole ton of money on it. I want it to be functional, and obviously I know that with cost, a lot of times comes reliability, but that's kind of why that is the way that it is. You'll see where I put the majority of the money at that I put into the rifle. Spoiler alert, but part of it's this. This is, so we got the light over here. We've got this, which I believe is a Voltal laser. So it has a visible laser, and then it's got a regular like white light. You could have this set up to either display the laser or the light, or the laser and the light that are on this device. I have it set up for just the visible laser, and then I just have the button here. I don't have a pressure pad for this. When my hand is here on the rifle, I can reach the pressure pad, and I can also reach the laser. This pressure pad is for the light, and basically you have a momentary on and off, or you have a stay on, or you can double tap and strobe. So again, just helpful to have, especially if for any reason you need to use this in a self-defense scenario. Moving our way down, we have a Magpul vertical grip. I kind of talked a little bit about the NFA guidelines when it comes to barrel length and what's considered a rifle, what's considered a pistol. But one of the rules I failed to mention was that if it is an AR pistol, so if the barrel is less than 16 inches without a pin and welded device on the end, and you have a pistol brace on it, then you cannot have a vertical grip. I believe the ATF lets you put like a forward, like a hand stop, but it cannot be vertical. I believe it's got to be 40 degrees or 30 degrees. I'll have to look it up, so I'll kind of post that on the side there to explain a little bit. This is obviously a rifle. The barrel is 16 inches, so this is a vertical grip. No big deal there. This handguard is actually a Geisley, I believe it's a Geisley Supermod 2. I can't remember exactly what the name of it is, the specific name, but I wanted something that was just a little bit shorter than the one that I had before that came with it. And I wanted to try out some other, different things. And so Geisley's a really good brand, so that's why that's on there. The scope that's on here is a SIG Tango MSR 1:6 LPVO. LPVO stands for Low Power Variable Optic. The cool thing about this is that it does allow you to adjust from 1 magnification times 1, which is basically no magnification, all the way up to 6, and basically you just turn this dial and it turns up the magnification. And the cool thing about it is it does have a battery in here, so it does illuminate the reticle, but the reticle is actually etched into the glass, so you don't need the optic to be on to be able to see out of it. What you'll see here is a level, so this just allows, if I'm going to take precision shots, allows me to make sure that the gun is sitting level like that. So that's something I just recently added. I haven't got into precision shooting, but it's definitely something I want to get into. So again, kind of future proofing, trying to kind of get things ready. But the other thing that you'll notice on the other side here on 45-degree cant is a red dot down here. So this was actually the first optic. This was the main one that was on here originally when I got it. So it was just the red dot, and then I decided I wanted something to be able to reach out a little bit further. 5.56 is definitely good for, basically it allows you to reach out a little bit further, and having a magnified optic definitely helps out with this. This is kind of a setup, I think, if you're researching or looking into 5.56 or into these rifles, this is probably a setup you'll see. What I want to do on my AR10 is basically move that red dot to the top and have it set up top. I'll throw a picture up so you can kind of see what that looks like, but this would be for longer range, which is why normally I have this set to about 3 to 4, usually around 4x. So I leave this usually at 4x, and then I have the red dot for close-up. So if I am shooting and I need to shoot up close, I can cant at a 45, and then boom, I have a red dot. The reason why I want it up top is just so I don't have to rotate the rifle. All I have to do is pick my head up and I'd be able to shoot through the red dot. And I'm just interested in kind of trying that setup out. But for now, this is how this is set up. The cool thing also about the SIG LPVO is it does come with a cantilever mount. So one less thing that you have to worry about. It comes with that. It didn't come with the level, that was separate. It's not SIG. It just basically mounts onto the tube. Those are the optics. That's the optics system that's on here. So LPVO for longer range, red dot on the side there, canted at a 45. That's for close-up engagement. Moving right along, we have a Rise single stage trigger. I will be completely honest, not a big fan of this. Again, if you watch the last video, you'll see this is kind of my first aftermarket trigger that I got, and I'm not a huge fan. I don't think it's the single stage, to be honest. I think it's just this particular trigger that I have a problem with, but the reset is just not, sometimes it either doesn't reset or it almost pops. Like it's just a weird trigger reset. And then sometimes if it doesn't pop, like if you're pulling through and you let go a little bit, sometimes it won't reset, and so then I'll pull to shoot again and it won't shoot. Just not a huge fan, but again, that was kind of my forte into it. Also down here, as I said before in the other video also, this is a Dai-Frico Kung Fu grip. This is on every one of my rifles, so really a big fan of it. But yeah, that's what this is. And then if we flip this guy over here, we have a aftermarket bolt carrier group. So this is a nickel boron Tribe Defense bolt carrier group. I know you might be asking why change out the bolt carrier group to nickel boron. I'll throw up something here to kind of explain a little bit about what nickel boron is and why it might be something that is advantageous to you. But it's an upgraded bolt carrier. I like it. It definitely runs really, really well, and doesn't get a lot of carbon buildup. It's just a tiny bit, but I literally was just shooting, so not too bad, but it definitely works the way that it's supposed to. It runs really well. I don't have reliability issues per se with it. The only reliability concerns I have, honestly, is this trigger, which I'm honestly going to switch out for a Geisley trigger as soon as I can. But yeah, that was kind of the only concern I had with it. It runs really, really well, and one of my favorite rifles to shoot for sure. But this is kind of the go-to for everything. I'd say the 300 Blackout was more for specifically for self-defense, like a home invasion or keeping it in the truck if something happens and I need to pull it out and engage someone, I can. But that rifle, I think, is not really designed to engage prolonged for a long period of time. This also just for anybody who is curious. Diamondback firearms. So this is a Diamondback lower. It's a DB15. Yeah, DB15. Yeah, actually, I haven't had any real issues with it. I think they're technically considered more on the budget end, or rate kind of in the middle. Not obviously not high, like super high tier, S tier, stuff. But it's been reliable for me, and I haven't had any issues with it, so it works great. But everything else, is pretty straightforward. And yeah, I think there's a couple things that need to be upgraded on it. Like I said, the light definitely could use upgrading, and this red dot also is not the greatest. I also want to kind of switch to instead of a red dot like this, an actual smaller, like a pistol red dot, or a not micro, but a smaller red dot, similar to like that. So have that on there instead of this big thing, so you can kind of see for comparison. So not too much smaller, but I think that's a cool upgrade down the road that we could do. So real quick, just to kind of address some of the comments I guess I made earlier in the video. I think that it's important that when you are putting a rifle together, or putting a build together, doing any of that, that you work within your means. I think one of the things that I've found in this community, or this hobby, if you will, when it comes to firearms, right, is that things can get real expensive real fast. And I think sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle that you need to have like the absolute top of the line, best of the best to make things work. My 5.56 rifle has got 3 different parts on it that literally I got off of Amazon for relatively cheap, and cheap considering the cost for other things. Same thing with the laser. In the last video you saw that PEC-15 can get up to like, I think it was $1,500 or $1,700 or more, and or you can find an alternative. I think that there's no shame in your game. Do what fits and what makes sense. Yeah, don't worry about what anybody else has to say outside of the context of constructive criticism and help and what people are saying to make you better. Definitely listen to those things, but if it comes to just downright criticism for the money you spent on it, either way, I think, whether it's you didn't spend a lot or you spent too much, I would say take a lot of that with a grain of salt and just get involved, get the components, put the stuff together, test it, try it, find out what works, find out what doesn't work. That's part of the good thing I think about this series, is it kind of gives people something to look at as far as things that have worked for me and the things I went through to get there. But yeah, that's it for the build breakdown for my 5.56 rifle, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.